2018, January 8th, Monday morning, about 10 a.m. And I was taking pictures of some of my receipts this morning. I do that sometimes. I started doing that probably in 2008, 10 years ago. Around the time when I first got my first apartment which came from my younger sister, and that was a nice affair. It was a long time ago too, by the way. How old was I? Well, I turned 23 that year, turning 33 this year. Born in 85. Grew up, was homeschooled in my city, this city, Pottersville. So this is my diary, private diary that I've been trying to do every day. And also I try to keep track of a lot of things. I try to write it down. I try to keep it on my computer. I try to, keep a little note on it. Like I try to use a notepad or something on my computer. Try to keep track of everything I see, everything I watch on TV or on my computer, like a movie or a TV show. Like right now I'm watching through Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman from the 90s. Pretty good show that I saw a little bit. It was on for 4 seasons in the 90s, from 93 to the spring of 97. Yeah, that's right. So 93 to 97. So when I was about 8 until I was about 12. So I remember that a little bit, along with Power Rangers. Started watching Power Rangers. Made a little movie with my buddies in 96. Talk about that. It was really interesting. Became a part of me. A lot of things from the 90s still part of my character. There's a lot of nostalgia when we look back. So I try to keep track of what I see and what I eat, and my dreams and the people that I meet when I meet them, and maybe some of the places I went, and some of the things I've done in my life. Just like an autobiography, but sometimes I try to make some lists, and I keep them on my computer as long as I have it, and I try to have some backups in a couple different places, and hopefully I can keep them, but sometimes I can't, and I lose stuff. Lose data and stuff if I accidentally erase a hard drive or something, which I did with a 4 terabyte hard drive just in December 2017. And try to keep moving. That was me watching nothing. I was walking across the street. That's what I was trying to say. And thinking about what I'm gonna do. I wonder if people are watching this video on YouTube, and it's not on Facebook, unless if I put it on Facebook. Maybe there's other websites I could put it on. I'm looking at that. I don't know what happened to VidMe. That was okay, but it went away for a while. Maybe it's coming back soon, or maybe it already came back with another name, another website name, domain name, instead of vid.me. I don't know what happened, but I'm really happy for Steemit, Gab, Minds.com, Infowars.com, DressReport.com. The the websites that are competing with Facebook and YouTube and Twitter are Gab, Minds.com, Medium.com, Steemit.com, Steam.io. They have different websites that can that can have it. That can have the Steam. Steam is a blockchain. It's a network. It's like Facebook, but they pay you instead of just taking your money. Not your money, but money. Not your money, but it's money that you could have got. Facebook takes a lot of money. Facebook has billions of dollars if you don't know. Tell your friends. Ask your friends. How much money does Facebook have? Where do they get that money from? Why aren't you getting any of that money? Well, you get a service, but how much is that service worth? It's a good question. And if you're okay with the trade, then it's okay, but you have to ask yourself whether or not you're okay with the trade and everything. You know, they get billions and billions of dollars, and you get, you know, you gotta upload some photos and videos and have some friends and stuff on Facebook. And so is that really worth it? On Steam, they let you get some money for doing Facebook things, Facebook stuff, posting, sharing, liking as in voting. You upvote something. It's a little bit like Reddit, if you don't already know. So going to the Forest Grove Library today. Like I normally do, I go to a library every day, but thinking about what I want to do and everything with my life, and trying to just brainstorm about what I can get done. This is what I've been talking about every day for the past like month or so. Getting back to America, Thanksgiving 2017. So I've been back over a month now, and in December 2017, I started making these videos. Started making these live streams. Oh, not live streams, but they would be live streams if I had internet. But they're just a little blog post of me rambling, and basically saying the same thing every day. But every once in a while, I might say something a little bit different, or say it in a different way, or you know, I might look a little bit different when I'm saying the same thing. Say my name, Dr. Emmett Brown. Mr. Dr. White. Looking at my dad's yearbook. He has two copies of the last one. He graduated from high school in '69, and that means that he graduated when he was 19, probably, or not 19, because his birthday is actually in September. He had another birthday too in like July. Either one, you know. Okay, so he actually graduated when he was 18, but he turned 19 that year. And my birthday's in February, so I actually turned 19 when I graduated high school in 2004. So looking at my dad's, my father's two yearbooks. First one when he was a freshman or something, and the other one when he was a senior. I'm not really sure if he was a freshman. Yeah, he was a freshman. That's the thing that I noticed. So I noticed that in 1966, the Crater Lake High School, which my father went to, had 4 years, but in '69, just 3 years. So I'm not really sure what that's all about, but I know that my mom talked about having only 3 years in her high school, and it seems that was the case for a lot of high schools back then, and now it's more common to have 4 years. And Vietnam, they probably had 3 years, just like my mom, and kind of like my dad, at the end at least. I'm not really sure what that's all about, but so probably should just try to eat more garlic. I have garlic in my pocket, so I'm gonna try to eat more of that. So I was doing that in Vietnam a little bit, and I stopped for a month or two. Doing it for a few months straight in 2017. And it's difficult at first, but once you start to eat the garlic like every day, you start to get addicted to it. It's not a bad addiction as compared to like being addicted to ice cream, which I've been addicted to ice cream for years, off and on. I would, just go to the store, buy ice cream. I was doing that like 2008 when I got my first apartment in Portland, Oregon, PDX, and kind of made it a habit. More so probably in 2009, I started making it a habit as my life was a little bit different at that time. In 2009, unexpected stuff happened. And I was kind of all over the place like I normally am in my life. From time to time, I kind of get into these situations where I'm not really sure what's going on. And some of it's my fault and some of it's not my fault. And I probably make a big deal about all the stuff that's not really my fault. But then, other stuff is my fault. And other people can be not sure, or they can assume that all of it's my fault, or they can say, well, all of it's your fault, or the problem, or they can jump to too many assumptions, conclusions. Even if they don't actually say it, they can kind of think about it and stuff. It's a little bit not certain. Like, you don't exactly know what people are thinking, but you can guess it. So that could be a bad habit of mine, a bad habit of everybody's. But at the same time, I would say on the other hand, other people are still doing it. Even if I do a bad thing to see that you're doing a bad thing. Yeah, I'm doing a bad thing, maybe, like jumping to conclusions, for example. But that doesn't mean that your bad action is like not there anymore. Like, it doesn't go away. And that's the point that I always try to make with people. It's kind of like what CNN does with the WikiLeaks. They say, well, they did a bad thing. And you can think that they did a bad thing, especially if the fake news mainstream media is always telling you that like Russia's trying to take over America, Donald Trump is so bad, and the WikiLeaks is so evil. And they try to tell people, if you ask around, some people they'll be like, maybe they did a bad thing, but think about what did they report on? What did the WikiLeaks.org report on? That they had a Podesta emails, and that was at the mostly at the end of 2016. They were releasing these emails that came from John Podesta, and he was part of the Hillary Clinton campaign as he was trying to become the president. Not really trying to become president. He was just basically being put in as the 45th USA president. That was a plan. It's been a plan for a year. I mean, not a year, but longer than that, like many years. But a lot of people voted for Donald Trump. But they weren't Russians. They were Americans and stuff. But regardless, like, think about what WikiLeaks were talking about. They were talking about the emails. The emails had information about what they were doing wrong. Like, basically, like what the Democrats were doing wrong. A lot of people on the left. I mean, the left were admitting to it, and not just in the emails. Also, like on TV and a lot of places, books. There's a lot of information out there that the general public don't really know about, and they don't really care about. But it's like under your nose kind of thing that gets you a little bit annoyed when you talk to people who are not really informed. They don't really know what's going on, and you can be very frustrated if you try to tell people something. Like yesterday, Sunday, I tried to tell some people something because I was at the Daily Bible Church and looking at the world map, and somebody said, "Oh, are you looking at Vietnam or the world?" And I'm like, looking at the world. And then he said, "Oh, I was in the Czech Republic." Did I say that right? And then we're looking at some of the places in the Middle East and above the Middle East and near Russia. And he was saying like, "Oh, we don't hear a lot about these places like Kazakhstan or something." And then I was looking at Iran, and I was like, "Oh, look, there's revolutions going on here. They want a better government." And then the guy said, "Well, you know, I don't watch the news, and I don't really know a lot about that." And it's too bad. Well, it's too bad. I mean, you don't really have to watch the news to know what's going on, and you don't really have to always know everything that's happening, especially if it's a distraction, if it's that important, if it's, you know, the left news, fake news, if it's a distraction, you know what I'm saying? Like, then you don't really need to know. But at the same time, you don't really need to know. You don't really have to watch the news to know what's going on. Like maybe your friends are talking about it on Facebook or Twitter, or YouTube, or somewhere online, or offline, you know, in person somewhere. Like, you can know what's happening in Iran if you know a little bit of history. I mean, that's basically how you can know stuff is first you gotta know what happened. If you don't know what happened, then the stuff that's happening now doesn't really gonna help you a lot if you don't know the context of what's happening in the longer picture kind of thing. Okay, so talking a little rusty voice. It's clogging up. My mouth is a little bit cloggy up. Maybe I'm a little bit sick or something. Maybe just a little bit, not really sick, but just enough to be like, oh my mouth and everything. Gotta work out more. I gotta do a lot of stuff every day. Oh, really? You do? Yeah. Difficult thing, get back on my feet, but I'm not off my feet, but I'm on my feet and off my feet at the same time, living in a paradox, depending on what you mean by feet, getting on and off feet. What's that mean? What's the word? Word of the day. What word is the bird, and the bird is the word? Did you know? That's a song I heard on Family Guy some years ago. And I said, hey, that's interesting, but to say the least, I saw something in my dream, probably last night, unexpectedly. It was Rasp Van Dyke, and he was a co-manager with me with the girls basketball team at our high school, Forest Grove High School. Go Vikings in Forest Grove, Oregon, here, this city. My senior year, 2003, 2004. And okay, so when I saw him somewhere, he was in the high school. So apparently, according to my dream, he was probably like a year younger than me, or maybe a few years younger than me. So maybe like in the dream, maybe I knew him in high school, but now he's still in high school, and maybe now he's a senior, and I already graduated, but I'm going back to see him, and I noticed that he was like missing an arm, or part of his like arm, his right arm. And I was trying to remember why. And then I remember maybe when I knew him in like my Probably my algebra class, maybe. My algebra class with Joe Baumgartner. Maybe he had a cast on his arm, like a broken arm, and maybe they couldn't save it. Like, it was broken, but then it died. Then they had to cut it off. They had to amputate him. And so in the dream, I decided to, like, say hello to him. So I went and I tried to say hello, and he didn't say anything. He was busy doing like homework and working with an older guy, maybe like a teacher or something. Not sure who was helping who. Not really sure if he was a student or not. But actually, in real life, he was a senior at the same time I was. And he never lost any arms as far as I know. Did he have a broken arm ever? Did he ever have a cast in real life? I don't know, but I don't remember, but probably some people did, but maybe not him, I don't know, but interesting what happens in dreams, and you wonder why and stuff. If you know how to interpret, let me know. But at this moment, I don't really know, like, what's going on. But I don't know, like, whether or not I'm going to, like, post more videos everywhere or some places or not. I don't know what the best idea is. As far as priorities go, I'm not really sure, like, how valuable my stuff is. You know, anything that I do, videos, photos, articles, and anything else that I do online, and maybe offline too, but mostly I'm focused on the online part of anything and everything that I do. And I think about, okay, am I spending too much time, like, on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or minds.com, gap.ai, maybe some of the other websites, but mostly the top 10 websites or so, the top 10 social media networks, social networks online, whatever the top 10 is of the year, which used to be MySpace because it was more customizable than Facebook. And Facebook was a little bit better when I first joined in 2006, about 12 years ago. But then it started going down. They started watering it down and making it less free, less fun and everything. Facebook got a lot worse than the last 12 years that I've been on it. Facebook has only been around for about probably 14 years. Probably started in 2004, same year I graduated high school. Funny in a dream, you go back to high school in your dream and you're just like, you know, maybe you only been gone for a year, but in real life it's been like 10 years or something. So it's kind of like the dream world is many years behind. In some cases, in most cases probably so. Now I've been in Vietnam for 5 years, and from 2012 to 2017. So I wonder, will I have dreams of Vietnam? You know, is that gonna happen? Is that gonna happen in a few years? Am I gonna be like, oh, I'm in Vietnam in my dreams? And is that kind of how it works? Is the brain still processing stuff? And it takes that long to get through all the stuff. That could be the case and whatever. But so anyways, I'm doing my daily routine thing, and wondering if anybody I know watches my YouTube. I know some people may stumble apart. They'll fall apart. Like, so terrible, I don't want to watch you. But then again, some people kind of think I'm funny. But it depends on whether or not I'm ready to talk to people, then I could be like a comedian. If I have like my stuff, then I want to spill out to people and stuff, and I have a routine and whatever, then, you know, or some kind of act, and I could like talk about my guinea pigs or something, and my rats that were on top of the world. I'm on top of the tree, in the tree, because I built some bird houses out of buckets and rags, towels for them, and they fell off and died, roast death, because they were like, you know, rats are kind of like bats with no wings. I used to tell that story when I was in college. I went to 4 colleges, and I was there for some years, off and on, mostly straight. But anyways, oh geez, what's going on here? I would tell some stories, and people would laugh and stuff. Maybe because of the way I said it, or maybe some of the content, the actual material, was kind of funny too. Because when I say, you know, rats are like bats with no wings, that's a little bit funny if you say it in a funny way. Nowadays, whenever I tell the story of that, I don't say it in a funny way or whatever. I don't say it in the same way I used to. I do a lot of things differently. Not to say that I can't, and not to say that I don't ever act funny or try to be funny or whatever, because I do that sometimes. But for the most part, I'm not really doing it as much as I used to. But I know that I could be funny accidentally at times. But anyways, you know, I think about that, and I think about, yeah, so as far as priorities goes, think about what kind of person can I be? What kind of person does God want me to be? Where, I say that in a sarcastic way. Well, what kind of person does God want me to be? But yeah, actually, I really do mean it when I say it. Every once in a while, I say something, and I'm just killing the joke right now, but sometimes that's my job, is to kill a joke. Die, you barbaric monster. I think, you know, if you're thinking about whether or not you want to be a funny person, you just got to think what's funny to you, and do what's funny for you, and focus on that. And people, if people laugh, that's great. If they're not, at least you're being true to yourself. So don't sell your soul to the devil or to a guinea pig. Yeah. Okay, he said I was trying too hard. In a way. Oh, really? Yeah, maybe yes, maybe no. But it's a paradox and stuff. But what do I have to do? Gotta see if I can join a bank. I'm still thinking about that, and thinking about when I may actually go to Sultan, if I'm still allowed, which I assume I am, but I'm still gonna ask my mom again. Hey, and okay, is anybody watching this? Is Robin Baker watching this? I don't mean to destroy her, or Jamie Dawson, or anybody else. Watching or not watching, like, I don't mean to, attack people. And I probably said this in the other videos. I have these goals and everything. I'm trying to make the world a better place, but I talk about the problems that may occur, that may come from other people. But it may not be a personal attack necessarily against the people that I mentioned, like I just mentioned a few seconds ago, but or other people that I don't mention, like my dad, Don Arnold, or anybody. Talk about it, but I don't mean to be just focused on them. I use them as examples of characteristics that's happening in the world, kind of thing. If you study psychology and sociology and anthropology, all these different things, you can study history and people, behaviors of people. You can understand people a little bit better, and you can understand that we're all in it together, and we can all sympathize, empathize, and realize what's going on a little bit better. We can relate to each other and help each other out of the storm, out of life and everything, if we are more transparent and honest, and we're able to share stories about what's going on. And when somebody does bad to you, let them know first, give them an opportunity to improve. And I try to do that even with the people that I mention. But then if they don't, then I start to tell one person, then two people. That's the kind of the thing that you get from Matthew 18 and other places too, I'm sure. But I would start with Matthew 18 for the most part. But that's the model. Like, you confront them, and if they don't want to, fix their problem, if it is a problem, then you go to another person and you bring the other person to them. Try again. And then maybe 2 people, maybe 3 people. And then soon maybe everybody. And that's what I do. I start to tell everybody, like online, the whole world. Because I tried everything else before already. So, look at my face, and I'm very judgmental of my face sometimes. I look at all this fat. And I've been talking for 30 minutes. I was thinking of making smaller videos because I'm thinking, can I really keep these videos on my hard drive or not? Will I just keep them, online, and hope my YouTube channel doesn't get deleted like a lot of conservative YouTube channels get deleted, and Ojawal got deleted. YouTube deleted Ojawal over a fair use thing of this probably 3 different videos that was covered over the Fair Use Act, but they will say no, it's not, but it is. But I don't have lawyers to fight them. It wasn't around when they terminated it in October 2017. They deleted it. YouTube destroyed my Ojawal YouTube channel in October 2017, just a few months ago, and I was a little bit concerned about that, and still am. I'm not the only one that gets these kinds of problems, Okay, got more to say, but I'll say it more later. I'll say more later. Maybe eat more oatmeal. 2018, January 8th, Monday morning. Oatmeal's your morning. Eat more oatmeal.